The Precipice by Robin Kalota. Ruth fingers the scar on her chest, thick and ropey, a lifeline made of skin and stitches, feels it pull with each hard breath she takes along the trail. What a weathered landscape her body has become, jagged paths and jutting crevices. Her breasts bulge like swollen hills, uneven and dense, random patches where surgeries left their mark. She follows Ian toward the top of the hill, like a scout falling into formation. The path is strewn with rocks, zigzags back and forth as it ascends. She watches the muscles in his calves as he climbs, like piston engines propelling them forward. The tendons pop with each step. Ian purses his lips, whistles out directions, now left, now right, watch out. He looks over his shoulder, extends his hand backwards. She knows it's more for moral support than actual help. Ruth has been here before, has walked this path. It's where their first date was, when she was at his heels, egging him onto the more challenging trails, pushing both of them faster, stronger, higher. They wore matching bandanas around their foreheads back then, paisley and red, and he carried a backpack filled with jerky and nuts and a half bottle of wine for when they reached the top, their first kiss infused with cashews and Pinot Noir and a hint of spit and salt. "You okay there?" he asks as he marches forward. His tone sounds careful, as if to avoid the implication that she is not keeping up, which she is, but barely. She nods her head. A breathy hiss escapes her lips as she assures him. She feels the flush in her cheeks, half induced by the sun and half caused by the thumping of her heart. Little wonder. Her last surgery was barely 6 months ago. Payback for months of sedentary behavior. Torn valves, leaky vessels, robotic arms probing, cutting. She pulls a water bottle from her fanny pack, takes a sip, squirts it on her face. This hike was not Ruth's idea. "I've barely recovered," she told Ian when he suggested the trek. "I'm still weak, just look at me." She pulled her blouse open below her collarbone. "My scars aren't even healed." As if he didn't see them, pink and raw, translucent, sprawling like the legs of a soft-shell crab. He passed his finger over them like a blessing and walked away. Ruth stops in her tracks, watches Ian forge ahead on the trail. "I'm tired," she says. She knows she's disappointing him. He says hiking will be good for her, get her out of the house, helps her with recovery. Damn his do-gooder deeds, damn his good DNA and his marathons and his endless energy. It's not fair. "We're almost there," he says. "Better be," she mutters, and she puts her hand to her hip as if to squeeze her guts back into place and to temper the pain that's radiating out of her left side. She used to keep up, could walk and talk and climb at the same time, no wheezing, no grunting. She doesn't want to count back the years that far. "Voila!" Ian pronounces as they push through brush to a ledge at the top of the cliff to see the gorge below, a composition in rock, foliage, and river. "I told you it'd be worth the effort." He's such an optimist. Not kumbaya, but forward-looking, buoyant. She needs that, needs his presence, his groundedness. She stands behind him, her hand resting on his shoulder as she catches her breath, gains her balance. A breeze washes over her face, and there's a minty, woody scent, like tiny branches being broken and crushed. She breathes it in, feels it in her chest, tastes a sob in her mouth. She cries a lot now, like there's a deep well in the pit of her gut oozing anxiety and loss and fear, a spigot that turns it on and off at will. Down below, a cascade of white water converges with rocks, and frothy waves pound the canyon walls. It's dark and harsh, boulders sledgehammered by both time and nature. A fine mist rises, and she can't tell if it's tears that she feels or spray shooting up from the ruckus below. She clears pebbles off a flattened stone, sits down, circles her knees with her arms. "Do you remember hiking in Noosa?" she asks when Ian turns around. His cheeks are flushed from the climb, and he stands over her, reaches out to pull a twig off her head. She runs her hand over her hair, combs her fingers through, recalls how they caught the sunrise at the national park, were awed by the clarity of the volcano-peaked mountains etched in the distance, how she almost wept when they reached the eucalyptus forest and found it scarred and disfigured from a recent burn. Ian wrapped his arms around her and swayed. "It's a prescribed burn," he said, and she thought how crazy to destroy and blight intentionally. And he nodded his head, said, "It's a circle of life, babe, circle of life. Gotta get rid of the old, the damaged, get to the new." "We should go back there," he says, "for our anniversary. Drive the Gold Coast, hike the national park again. Now that was a view. Hey, we could go to the ginger factory." He's got that shit-eating grin on his face, and she yearns to jump up and roll her arms around his middle, feel his girth, squeeze him till he squeals. But he's sweaty and happy, seems full of the goodness of his body and the charm of his memory, and she couldn't stand it, just couldn't bear it if he sidled away, if he said, later, not now. Ruth conjures up the sight of the Kitty Ride steam train that traversed the perimeter of the now-defunct factory, the building humming with vendors selling products that emitted that citrusy, earthy scent of processed ginger, its dust hovering in the air on their clothes and their nose. "You just want another ginger ice cream cone at 9 a.m. Damn right." She savors the memory. How she licked the ice cream off her fingers, their hands sticky, palms entwined, sealed together by milk and sugar and the taste of adventure. "Ian," Ruth starts, "I'm worried about..." "Overdoing it? Look, you're here. You're fine. Look back at the hill you just climbed." "Yeah, no, about us." "What about us? What if..." "You're not going to die, for God's sakes. Just don't be such an old lady." "If I don't get my strength back..." She pauses. "Old lady? Really? Don't be such a jerk." She looks down the length of her arms, the crook of her elbow. The skin is crepey, thin like tissue paper. She feels a gnaw in her gut. Am I? "You're obsessing again," Ian says. "You should be braver than that." "Brave? What does that even mean?" "It's not like you're the only one this has happened to. Just get on with it." Ruth bites her lip, probes it with her tongue until it welts. "Just breathe in," she tells herself. 4, 3, 2, 1. Her hand flutters over her chest, her ribcage vibrating with the beat of her fractured heart, the part that can't be fixed by robotics. Sure, she worries about time. There's too little of it. And their health, how it's leaking out of them, out of her. And aging. They're aging. Old lady, lady. At the reality of the words, the power of those words, how they define her, label her, categorize her, how they conspire to limit and control her. She looks up, shields her eyes from the sun with her hand. Ian's back is to her. He's still in good shape, no great shape for his age. He's worked hard at it, but still, good genes. Not her family's shit for blood gene pool. She doesn't need 23andMe to know whose lineage she has. Mom and dad, congestive heart failure, long gone. Grandparents, all dead by the age of 65. What if she does die young? Ian might meet a woman half her age with smooth skin and no scars and a straight nose. Even worse, he could meet someone at the market. Yes, he could divorce her, leave her hanging, alone with 2 cats and a mortgage. Most of their friends are divorced, second marriages. That's not so far-fetched, is it? Is it? Ruth eyes him suspiciously. "What?" Ian asks, eyebrows arched. "Can't get up?" He laughs, feebly extending 2 fingers and his thumb. "Not funny." Ruth attempts to stand up, pushes herself off the rock with both palms, slowly unfolds like a lawn chair, one limb clicking into place at a time. She waves his hand away. "Shut up," she quips preemptively, wondering where the next barb will land as she brushes off the back of her pants, steps toward the lookout jutting out from the edge. She peers over the side, wants to throw something over, a rock, a branch, or better yet, her patched-up, broken-down heart, watch it tumble and twist as it somersaults down, see if it bounces back, if her body climbs back out, recovers, or returns to fall again like Sisyphus, condemned to push that goddamn boulder uphill, only to have it roll back down, to have her heart seize up, and to have to bring herself back to life over and over again. She tilts forward, and just a little more, And she's mesmerized by the sun and the stillness and the pull of it all, her feet shuffling further with the gravitational force of her life and her health and her fears, the pebbles beneath her shoes slipping, sliding, falling closer to the edge. A hawk screeches as it floats by and her hand is yanked, her body pulled back. "What the hell are you doing?" Ian's face is in front of hers and he's white as a ghost. He's so close she can see his nostrils flaring. The stubble on his chin, feel the thrust of his breath. She knows this face, has memorized it, ran her lips over it, read the lines in it, felt the love and the scorn of it. "You're hurting me." "You're darn right I am. What were you thinking?" he shouts as he pulls her close. Ian never yells. They stand there alone, together, looking out over the precipice. He grabs her hand and squeezes hard, their chests rising and falling in unison. Air in, air out. Ruth turns to face him, and she sees her reflection in his glasses. She's distorted and out of focus. She's weathered and weary, but she's there.